I almost died, and my wife didn't care. 2 years later, she begged for another chance. I remember the exact moment I realized my marriage was over. It wasn't during a fight. It wasn't because of infidelity or some hidden betrayal. It was at 2:47 a.m. in a cold hospital room while I struggled to breathe, and my wife sat 2 feet away scrolling through TikTok. But let me back up. 3 weeks earlier, it started small. I felt off, tired, achy, nothing you'd rush to the doctor for. I figured it was just work stress or maybe I slept funny. Harper, my wife of 6 years, barely glanced up from her phone when I mentioned it. "You always get like this when you're stressed." "You're being dramatic," she said. So I pushed through it. "That's what you do, right?" Then the fever hit. Not the curl up with soup kind, the kind that made my joints feel like shattered glass, the kind that had me waking, up in soaked sheets, wondering if this was what dying felt like. Harper's response? "Take some Tylenol and stop waking me up." The night everything changed. I woke up, and my right side wouldn't move. The room was spinning. My heart was racing so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I called out to Harper. Voice barely audible. She rolled over and groaned. "I'm not your babysitter." "Handle it yourself." Then she went back to sleep. I lay there, half paralyzed, trying to work my phone with hands that didn't feel like mine. Eventually, I managed to call my sister, Alexandra. She lived 45 minutes away. She made it in 20. The ER Alexandra's face went pale when she saw me. She kept her voice calm, even when Harper rolled her eyes and muttered, "You're just enabling his attention-seeking behavior. But fine, go ahead." The emergency room was chaos. Words, like septic shock and organ failure, floated around me. Temperature, 104.2 degrees, blood pressure, crashing. An infection had gone systemic, completely out of control. When I told the doctor how long I'd been sick, he glanced at Harper, who was still scrolling Instagram in the corner. They admitted me immediately. Alexandra stayed until visiting hours ended. Harper, when asked if she'd spend the night. "I have an early meeting tomorrow. He's in good hands here." The days that followed. 10 days in the hospital. Antibiotics, tests, fever dreams. Alexandra came every day after work, bringing my laptop, clean clothes, even talking to my doctors. Harper visited twice. The first time she stayed 15 minutes and complained about paying for parking. The second, she brought a cold coffee and spent half an hour telling me gossip from a party I wasn't well enough to attend. But the moment that broke me, it was simple. I asked her to hand me a glass of water. I could barely lift my arms. The infection had wrecked my body. She sighed and rolled her eyes. "I'm not your babysitter. Handle it yourself." Same words, same tone. I just nodded and stayed silent. Later, a nurse walked in and found me struggling to reach the water. She helped me drink, adjusted my pillows, checked my vitals. All while Harper blasted TikTok videos on full volume. That's when it hit me, not all at once, but like a slow poison settling into my bones. After 6 years of marriage, my wife had less compassion for me than a stranger being paid to care. After discharge, I was in the hospital for 10 days. 10 days where Harper never once asked a doctor about my condition, never once asked what I'd need after discharge. When the day came to go home, she didn't even show up. She texted, "I'm swamped. Can your sister handle it?" Alexandra picked me up. Again. As we drove, she kept looking at me in the rearview mirror like she wanted to say something but couldn't. I spent that entire drive planning my exit. They say near-death experiences change you. Mine didn't just change me. It clarified everything. Every eye roll, every time she called me dramatic, every moment she treated my pain like an inconvenience. Played back in my mind like a greatest hits album of red flags I'd ignored. I didn't say a word to Harper that night, or the next. I just watched her laugh at her phone, make weekend plans with friends, and complain about her day like nothing had happened. like her husband hadn't almost died while she sat beside him and did nothing. The quiet exit. I waited until I was strong enough. Then, while Harper was at brunch, I packed a single bag and left. No note. No explanation. She thought she'd won. She laughed when she found my side of the closet empty. Texted me, "Real mature. Let me know when you're done being dramatic." 2 years later, she's been blowing up my phone. Apparently, life didn't get easier without her dramatic husband. She wants another chance. She says she's changed. We had something real. I miss you. But here's the truth. The woman I married disappeared a long time ago. If she was ever really there at all. I nearly died. And she didn't care. And now? Now I finally do. I didn't expect my last post to get so much attention. Reading your comments helped more than you know. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel crazy for how I felt. For what I decided to do. So here's what happened. Yes, I left. And yes, it only took 2 weeks after getting discharged from the hospital. Some of you might think that's too fast. Others said I should have left the moment I got home. But the truth is, I needed those 2 weeks to do it right. The morning. After. The day after I got home, Harper made breakfast. Not for me. She made herself avocado toast. I sat at the kitchen counter, still shaky, still weak, watching her adjust the lighting for her Instagram photo. She glanced at me and said, "You should eat something. There's bread in the freezer." That's when I knew I was done. I texted my sister Alexandra, "I need your help getting out." The quiet exit. The next 2 weeks were a quiet operation. A slow motion. Goodbye. Alexandra connected me with her friend who had a small apartment. Nothing fancy, but it had an elevator, critical since I was still recovering, and did month-to-month leases. While Harper was at work, Alexandra and I moved the essentials. Not enough to draw attention, just enough that I wouldn't have to come back. The hardest part wasn't the moving. It was pretending things were normal at home. Harper barely noticed. She was too busy planning a girl's trip. "You'll be fine by yourself, right?" she asked, still staring at her laptop. "I mean, you managed in the hospital." I just nodded and mentally added, "Cancel joint credit cards." The moments that stuck. It wasn't one big blow-up that pushed me over the edge. It was the little things. Finding my hospital discharge papers crumpled in the trash when I needed them for insurance. Harper sighing dramatically when I asked if she could pick up my prescription. "Can't you just get it delivered? I'm not your nurse." Hearing her tell a friend on the phone that I was milking it when I had to lie down after doing laundry. Alexandra was my rock. She helped me set up auto payments, brought me supplies, even stocked my fridge. When I tried to thank her, she just hugged me. "I should have seen it sooner," she said. "I'm sorry." The day I left, I waited until Harper went to work. Most of my essentials were already gone. I left my keys on the kitchen counter, along with a letter. No drama, no accusations, just the facts. I also left copies of my hospital records, just in case she ever tried to rewrite the narrative, just in case she wanted to pretend it wasn't that bad. I turned off location sharing, blocked her on everything, changed my number. By noon, Alexandra helped me finish setting up my new place. By evening, I was sitting on a second-hand couch, eating takeout in a small apartment that already felt more like home than the house I'd shared with Harper for 6 years. The fallout. That's when the messages started. Harper couldn't reach me, so she started texting Alexandra. "Very funny, he'll be back in a week. Tell him he's being ridiculous. He can't just leave because I didn't babysit him at the hospital. He's going to regret this little tantrum. I've already told everyone how unstable he's been since his near-death experience." Alexandra showed me the texts. She didn't push me to respond. Instead, she helped me pick out shower curtains. Then came the email. "You're embarrassing both of us. Everyone knows you're just doing this for attention like always. Remember when you needed to go to the..." at 3 a.m.? Come home and we'll forget this ever happened. I'll even let you pick the Netflix show tonight. I didn't reply. Instead, I went to my first therapy session. What the therapist said. After hearing everything, my therapist said something I'll never forget. You know the difference between being lonely and being alone? Lonely is what you felt in that hospital room, with your wife right there. Alone is what you are now, and you're already doing better. They were right. It's been 2 weeks since I left. My new place is quiet, but peaceful. The elderly couple next door brought me homemade soup when they heard I was recovering. That act of kindness from strangers made me cry harder than leaving my marriage ever did. I'm healing. Slowly. My appetite's back. I'm no longer winded walking across the room. I even cooked dinner last night, just pasta, but it felt like a win. The unexpected feeling. I thought I'd feel scared, or angry, or guilty. Instead, I feel relieved. I can finally breathe. No more walking on eggshells. No more bracing for eye rolls or passive-aggressive jabs. No more feeling like a burden in my own home. Harper's still trying. She's called my sister repeatedly, cycling through tears, guilt trips, and veiled threats. She's told our friends I'm having a mental breakdown. She even posted a vague Instagram story about supporting your partner through mental health struggles. But every manipulative message, every attempt to paint me as unstable, every gaslighting comment about my hospital stay just confirms I made the right choice. The woman I married was supposed to be there for me, in sickness and in health. Instead, she showed me exactly who she was, when I was at my weakest. And now I'm finally strong enough to walk away. I have a consultation with a lawyer next week. Alexandra helped me gather all my medical records and documentation. I've also saved every message where Harper admitted to ignoring my symptoms and refusing to help during my medical emergency. I don't want a long, bitter legal fight. I just want out. This morning, I got a text from an unknown number. You'll be back. You always come back when you need something. Who else would put up with your dramatics? I blocked the number and made myself breakfast. My hands don't shake anymore when I hold the coffee cup. Update 2. 1 year later. It's strange. How much can change in a year? Last week, I was at the grocery store reaching for coffee when I heard a familiar laugh. That laugh used to make me tense up, brace for judgment or some cutting remark. This time, I just grabbed my coffee and walked away. Harper never even saw me. A lot of you have messaged me since Harper's latest social media meltdown. Yes, I saw the posts. No, I haven't responded. But I think it's time for an update, because things took an unexpected turn. The divorce was finalized 6 months ago. Harper didn't contest it. She was too focused on preserving her image as the long-suffering wife of an unstable husband. The day we signed the papers, she posted a black-and-white photo of herself gazing pensively out a window with a caption about loving someone through their demons. I let her keep that story. It was easier. The people who mattered already knew the truth. My recovery took longer than expected. Sepsis left me with lasting effects: fatigue, joint pain, brain fog. But when no one's calling you dramatic for listening to your body, healing gets a little easier. I joined a support group for survivors. That's where I met Naomi. We met like something out of a cliché. She dropped her water bottle as she was leaving her session. I bent to pick it up. She was there for grief counseling. Her husband had died 2 years earlier from a similar infection. We started getting coffee after group, talking about healing, recovery, and all the awkward things people say when you survive something you weren't supposed to. Neither of us was looking for anything romantic. Maybe that's why it felt so easy. Meanwhile, Harper's picture-perfect life started to crack. Her friends started reaching out to me. One by one, they realized her version of events didn't line up with the medical records Alexandra saved, or the texts, or the hospital footage of her scrolling TikTok while I was in critical condition. Last month, she lost her inner circle when they found out she'd lied about nursing me back to health. Turns out she'd spent that time on a spa weekend with her new boyfriend. He didn't last long. After he found old texts where she mocked my 104-degree fever, he actually reached out to me. I sent him the medical records and wished him luck. Then the calls started. Her mom, her sister, Harper herself, all went to Alexandra. The message had changed from, "He's unstable," to, "Please, she's struggling." Alexandra's response. So was Owen when he was dying in the hospital. Harper didn't care then. Last week I got promoted. Naomi surprised me with dinner at my favorite restaurant. It wasn't a date, or at least it didn't start that way. But sitting across from her, watching her laugh at her failed soup recipe, something shifted. Yesterday, Harper showed up at my office. She looked worn down, makeup smudged, thinner. Then I remembered. Security stopped her in the lobby, but I saw her through the glass. She was holding old photos of us. Classic Harper. Props for her next performance. I took the back exit and texted my therapist. "It's okay to feel nothing," she wrote. She was right. I was more worried about being late for coffee with Naomi. At our group session, someone shared their story of a partner who didn't believe their symptoms. Naomi and I locked eyes. Afterward, she touched my hand and said, "Want to get dinner instead of coffee?" I said yes. Just as we left, my phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Harper again. "I know you're trying to punish me, but this has gone on long enough. I've changed. Just meet me for coffee." Naomi saw the message. She didn't pull away. "Sometimes people don't change," she said. "They just get better at their performance." I blocked the number. Again. That night, for the first time in forever, I talked about things unrelated to illness, betrayal, or pain. We talked about books, travel, and our shared love of documentaries. She snorted, laughing at one of my jokes, then looked mortified. I thought it was adorable. As I write this, more messages are coming in, from Harper's friends, her family, numbers I don't recognize, all saying the same thing. She's sorry. She's changed. She just needs to talk. But I'm done with that chapter. My phone buzzed again, but this time it was Naomi sending a link to a documentary she thinks I'd like. I think I'm ready for the next chapter. Final update: the gala. I wasn't planning on posting again, but after what happened at yesterday's charity gala, I owe you the truth about how it all finally ended. And yes, it ended, just not the way Harper expected. 2 years after walking away from my marriage, I stood in a ballroom and watched my ex-wife's carefully curated world collapse, live in real time. And the best part? All I did was tell the truth. Last month, Naomi and I got engaged. It wasn't flashy. We were cooking dinner at home. She was telling me about her latest documentary project, and it just felt right. No Instagram announcement, no photo shoot. Just us. We only told close friends and family. Somehow, Harper found out. The messages started again. "You can't be serious. She's just a rebound. We need to talk before you make a huge mistake." I kept blocking her. She kept finding ways to reach out. Then came the charity gala, an annual fundraiser for sepsis awareness. Naomi and I helped organize it. Harper shouldn't have known, but she showed up anyway. She looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine, playing the part of the remorseful ex-wife. Sad smiles, teary eyes, ready for her performance. I was at the podium, ready to share my survival story when I saw her, dabbing at her eyes already. I paused. Then I told the full story, how I begged for help and was told to handle it myself. How my organs were failing while my wife scrolled TikTok. How she visited twice in 10 days and told people I was having a mental breakdown. The room fell silent. Then I played the audio recordings. Every dismissive comment, every cruel dismissal, all captured after I left the hospital. Alexandra had told me to document everything, just in case. She was right. Harper tried to leave, but her new friends, the ones she'd lied to, blocked her path. They wanted answers. I continued. Screenshots of her Instagram posts claiming she was nursing me back to health, shown side by side with time-stamped footage of her weekend getaways. The most important part of survival, I said, locking eyes with her, is recognizing what tried to kill you. And sometimes it's the person who was supposed to love you. Harper stood up. You're twisting everything. I was there. I helped you. That's when Naomi stepped forward. She'd compiled interviews with hospital staff, statements from mutual friends, and evidence of Harper's social media activity, all legally obtained, all devastating. No, I said, you weren't there. And now everyone knows where you really were. Whispers spread. Phones came out. Harper's reputation crumbled in minutes. She tried one last plea. Owen, please, we can talk, just us. I replied, like when I was dying and you told everyone I was crazy, like when you tried to ruin my relationship with Naomi? Her current boyfriend stood up and walked out. Her friends turned away. The charity board who welcomed her earlier now avoided eye contact. I ended with the announcement of a new program, the Handle It Yourself Foundation, support for patients abandoned by loved ones during critical illness. The crowd stood and clapped. Harper ran out. This morning, my inbox is full of survivor stories, people thanking me for speaking up, offering to help, to testify, to donate. Harper tried to silence me. Instead, she amplified every voice she tried to dismiss. Naomi squeezed my hand. You know what's better than revenge, she said. Truth. She's right. I never had. To scheme or plot. I just had to survive long enough for the truth to speak for itself. Next spring, I'm marrying Naomi. No announcements needed. The truth, it turns out, is loud enough on its own.